Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. Well, there's one thing about these meetings at the so-called global elite, the parasites who get together and discuss things, discuss our future. There's one thing that's coming out very clearly, and that is that the entire foundation of this one world government is based around World Economic Forum policy and direction and basically their agenda. And the latest proof of this is John Kerry. Now, for those who don't know, John Kerry actually ran for president in the United States of America several years ago. He failed horribly, but he's still one of these senior bureaucrat come politicians who basically is among the global parasites, so he knows what's going on. And he was at COP27, which is where they're talking about the green agenda, what they've got to do to stop carbon dioxide and how they've got to start taxing people who've got cows because of the horrible gases that they are releasing that's destroying our climate, all this sort of bullshit that they talk about. It's all got a completely different agenda. And it's all part of Klaus Schwab's Great Reset. Let me tell you what I'm talking about here. The World Economic Forum's climate change agenda was modeled off the effort to roll out vaccines during the COVID pandemic, John Kerry said during a COP27 panel discussion in Egypt on Tuesday. That means we can all look forward to high-pressure, coercive government tactics, and not only from the governments, but from corporate elites or corporate parasites. Appearing alongside WEF or World Economic Forum President Borje Brenda and various corporate executives, U.S. Special Presidential Envoy for Climate John Kerry said that it is urgent for the private sector to pair with governments to realize the goal of preventing the global temperature from rising and to save lives in the allegedly looming global climate crisis. Now, you'll notice this word partnering again. Corporations partnering with governments. It's called public-private partnerships. And that is the vehicle that they're going to be trying to use to bring your government, wherever you are in the world, under a one world government. That is the vehicle that they're using. This is a strategy that's been pushed out by the World Economic Forum. Kerry said in a speech before the panel, this is what he said: "We have an enormous challenge before us to bring to scale new technologies and to harness the deeply capable capacity of private sector entrepreneurs in order to bring them to the table, because without it, no government has enough money. We need everybody behind this." So what they're saying in effect is that the private corporations are going to save the world. What a load of bullshit. King Charles has made similar statements that we need nations to pool their resources and raise $1 trillion to combat climate change. Kerry further promoted the World Economic Forum's launch of the First Movers Coalition, which he said was needed to create demand signals in the market where they don't exist, which takes boldness. It takes courage from these executives who have made the decision to be part of this. Okay, so we have the young global leaders who are the politicians who've been put there by the World Economic Forum, and now we have the First Movers Coalition, which are the corporates who are going to come out and say, we'll be part of this public partnership or private-public or public-private partnership, whichever way you want to call it. This is the strategy being used to undermine your democracy. So there you have it. These globalists are on a mission to destroy not only the individual freedoms that millions of Westerners have enjoyed in the post-World War II era, but they also plan to destroy the market. Capitalism that led to a prosperous middle class, As long as the middle class is prosperous, it remains independent and capable of critical thinking. Wipe out their wealth and you wipe out their ability to think independently and make their own decisions. And this is the agenda of the World Economic Forum. Kerry admitted this was the goal in his COP27 speech when he said, "We need to create demand signals in the market where they don't exist." They want to artificially create demand where none exists for electric cars, fake meat grown in labs, replacing animal protein with crickets and other insects, solar and wind power in place of reliable coal and oil. That's not how capitalism works, but that's what they're going to try to force upon the world through ESGs and a Chinese point system that punishes those businesses and individuals who refuse to go along with the new system of government and corporate coercion. It's called the social credit system. If you don't play according to their rules, they can start punishing you by literally taking money out of your digital bank account or stopping you actually using your own money. Pope Francis has also called for replacing capitalism with a new economic model in the aftermath of COVID. In his recent book, he called for a new economic system. This is the Pope who has just presented the 10 climate changes or 10 climate commandments this week on Mount Sinai, where Moses received the 10 commandments from God. Absolutely evil. The Catholic News Agency reports that in his general audience address on September 30th in the San Damaso courtyard of the Vatican, the Pope criticized capitalism, calling it unfair and unsustainable. And he said, and certainly we cannot expect the economic model that underlies unfair and unsustainable development to solve our problems. It has not and will not, because it cannot do so, even though some false prophets continue to promise the trickle-down that never comes. So, by purposefully drying up the food supply, paying farmers not to produce, forcing them to drastically reduce the use of fertilizers, making them cull their herds of livestock and replace that protein in the human diet with crickets and other insects, this is somehow going to be more sustainable and feed more people? This is a World Economic Forum and United Nations agenda that Pope Francis promotes. So don't believe him when he says he's for a more equitable, sustainable, peaceful world. The Pope is a deceiver. John Kerry is a deceiver. They talk about climate change in a context that makes people think they're trying to benefit humanity. But when you lift the veneer of rhetorical altruism, what you find is an extremely anti-human line of policies that support the greater United Nations depopulation agenda. According to the Independent Sentinel, Francis wants the UN, the Dictators Club, to lead the world with a new system that sounds a lot like the World Economic Forum's system. That's because it's all the same tyrannical system being promoted right now by the four-legged beast, the political, the economic, corporate, the academic media, and the religious, spiritual realms. So there you have it, guys. Pope Francis has sold out the Catholic Church to the World Economic Forum. And you saw an example of that with the 10 climate commandments released by Pope Francis just a couple of days ago. And I posted those on a video just moments ago. Please remember to register on lovinglifetv.com to be kept informed. Please like this video, please share this video, and above all, do not get that deadly jab.